I'm the only one who picked Philadelphia to go all the way to the World Series. Nobody in their right mind thought that and I said it because Atlanta last year, nobody expected to go to the World Series. They squeaked in. They played very good in the second half because of that trade. And that trade, those three trades at the trade deadline transitioned them all the way to the playoffs, and they were the hottest team going into the playoffs, and they went all the way to the World Series, and it was very easy for them to win the World Series last year. And now I think the Philadelphia Phillies transitioning and changing managers the way they did with Girardi, who stunk. They gave it to Thompson. They started to buy into Thompson and what Thompson believed and the way they should be playing. Less power, more hitting and pitching, and even their bullpen played better ever since he's taken over. And you see the difference of what Philadelphia is. And they have stars. They got Bryce Harper. They have players like that. And Schwarber, who was hitting the way he was hitting throughout the whole season with power. So I think they have been, to me, just a surprise, the team that I believe that, that's what you see in baseball, hot teams. Kansas City did it a couple of years ago against the Mets. They were the hottest team. They went into the playoffs and they won. So that I believe is the way baseball is. Like you said, it's all about being hot at the right time. If your bats are hot, your pitching's going to be good. The Yankees' pitching was good. It was good. It wasn't bad. It was enough. That you give up 4 runs or 3 runs and you're the Yankees, you usually win in the regular season. You usually win. In the playoffs, not quite. If you can't get 3 or 4 runs in the playoffs, you might as well go home. You're not going to win. And that's why the Yankees couldn't win. They couldn't hit. They were swinging at anything. I mean, I felt the win over here. So,
well, I had them not being knocked out because if you look at the Yankees offensively, there are no. I mean, Aaron Judge, Rizzo, who I can't as an outsider, not being a New Yorker, outside of that area, I can't name all their players. There is no star power in that lineup. And, you hit it on the head. They can't beat the Astros. That's for one thing. But when you strike out that many times in a game and you don't hit very well with men in scoring position, you can't win games. They could basically pitch around Judge and you can win that game. I mean, it's the first time I've really watched a Yankee team that did not have a lot of names that you recognize as an outsider.
And that's a problem with the Yankees and over the last couple of years. And I don't blame Aaron Boone, and I don't blame, obviously, Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman did what he needed to do at the trade deadline. He added a pitcher, Frankie Montez. The guy wasn't 100% healthy. Now, maybe in a full season this year, maybe he's a better pitcher. Andrew Benintendi, who was an all-star. He was up for the batting title this year and fell off when he was batting 200 when he came to the Yankees. And that's not the Yankees' fault. That's the hitter's fault that he couldn't hit. So a lot of people like to point fingers. And then Bader, by the way, everybody took shots at Bader. Everybody took shots at Bader in that move because of Montgomery and what he did in the second half. Did Montgomery pitch in the playoffs? Not at all. Did he do anything in the playoffs for them? Not at all. Okay? Bader, he hit 5 home runs. He was the best hitter for the Yankees. He hit over 300 in the playoffs. What do you want? And it was besides the last game and the last 2 games of that Astros series, that drop ball, which I believe was Aaron Judge's fault because he was blocking his sight. I mean, Bader was a shutdown defender, too. There was nothing I thought on that trade that was bad. Brian Cashman makes his bad trades, and he makes his good ones.
Yeah, well, when it comes down to it, you're not going to fire all the players.
No.
That's the hard part. You can't, whatever the roster size is now, 25, 27, whatever it is, you're not firing all the players. You can add pieces, but, the people at the top are the ones that are the fall guys, and that's kind of what happens.
Meanwhile, you still have Josh Donaldson robbing you of $23 million. $25 million and doing nothing.
Well, I think the Yankees will buy him out. I will be, because he has 1 more year left on his contract. The Yankees will buy him out, negotiate a deal where they can give him 16 or 15 million, buy him out, and be done with Josh Donaldson because he couldn't hit. The guy's not the same player he was in 2015, 16, and 17. He's not the same hitter. And honestly, he has more of a mouth and he doesn't shut up on the field than any player I've seen in baseball. He is horrible. And everybody says, well, they wanted his glove. They needed his glove. Really? They needed his glove? How many times did we see Josh Donaldson throw the ball all over the field? I mean, it was horrible. Their defense, which was one of the top 5 defenses throughout the season, they had 6 errors in that Houston Astros series. 6!
Their 2 best players were their 2 youngsters, Cabrera and Peraza, when they did play.
I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible defense. And it's not Aaron Boone's fault. I know Yankee fans want to blame it on the manager. It's his fault. Aaron Boone wanted to blame it on the what is
retractable roof.
Retractable roof. I mean, everybody wants it. The umpires were horrible in the series. They were absolutely horrible. But here's the thing, and if I was the manager of the Yankees, here's what I would have said to my players after the end of the game. And you're a manager. You know all about this. Why are you swinging? Why are you swinging at bad pitches? Let the pitchers work. If the strike zone is so big and so weird, let them pitch against you. Let them throw those high fastballs. Why are you swinging at them? They swing at every first pitch, and they were all outside or up or low. What the hell are you swinging at? You're a manager. What would you say to your players?
Well, we try. I mean, what we talk about is you try to get the first best fastball that you can get, and you don't miss it. But yeah, our biggest thing is not to strike out. You got to put the ball in play.
Don't tell the Yankees that. Don't tell the Yankees that. Oh God. Oh my God, 62 strikeouts. You can't get any worse than that. And Justin Verlander and the umpires, like they needed to help Justin Verlander. Let's be honest. I mean, that pitching staff is fantastic. That is a great pitching staff. But the Yankees. The Astros didn't kill the Yankees. They didn't beat them up. If Gleyber Torres didn't make that error mistake, this goes to a game 5. It would have went to a game 5. Gleyber Torres made a big mistake. Those mistakes are very costly in the playoffs. You could do that in a regular season. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to remember that. In the playoffs, you might be finding another job in the offseason because the Yankees might say, you know what? You suck. You can't play in the playoffs. We're trading you. So, and that's what happens when you're on a big league team like that where they expect to win every year. And Yankee fans, and you know this, I'm a Yankee fan. I take shots at Yankee fans all the time. Why are they bitching and moaning? You are a top 4 team in the major leagues. You're top 4. 4. That you are. There are 30. How many teams are in the 30 teams in the MLB? You're one of the 4 best teams in the major league, and you're complaining that you lost in the ALCS? Yeah, you got dominated. Did you really think that you were going to beat the Astros the way you've been playing against the Cleveland Guardians? There was not a chance that you were going to beat them the way you were playing. You were lucky to beat the Guardians. And I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm going to say the truth. It's the truth, right or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I'll go back to Aaron Boone, and you're talking about managing. You know, I think for the big leagues, I think you're basically giving your lineup for the most part. The manager, he is good or bad, I think, based on how he uses the pitching. Handles the bullpen. You know, you got to go through 162 games during the year. You got to be able to manage those games throughout the year. That's the big thing.
I think he did a good job. I think his bullpen played very well. For all the injuries the Yankees had going into that series, they had 6 bullpen guys injured. 6 of them. 6 of them. And Chapman, they told him not even to come because he wouldn't show up to the workouts. Don't even come. We don't want you. Get rid of him. Okay? This is the problem. And Britton, they bring Zach Britton back. He's 100%. Oh, his shoulder gives out. First game back in the major leagues. I mean, after 2 years. It's just bad luck, and the Yankees' bullpen just died out in the second half of the season. Why? Because their starting pitching couldn't last after 5 innings, and this is the problem with the New York Yankees. Look at the Astros. They have 3 pitchers that pitch 6.5 innings almost every single game this year. 6.5. That takes an inning and a half away from your bullpen. That saves your bullpen. That gives your bullpen time to rest. You know all about that, my friend. You're a manager. You know what it is. You save your bullpen. You give your team the opportunity to rest certain players where they're ready for the playoffs.
I agree. I mean, it's injuries is a big deal, but you got to have the pitching, and it's got to last throughout the year. You got to be able to have guys in AAA that can come up at some time to help, and that becomes the big issue at the end of the year. And you can tell when they start setting those rosters for each series, you can kind of tell how they are, and either who's not doing well or who's hurt, and then you're missing names. But I think the Chapman thing was he was
what a moron
somewhere or whatever.
What a moron! That guy is a moron. Who the hell? Okay, and by the way, we are talking to Richmond baseball head coach and former Dodgers and Cardinals infielder Tracy Woodson. Who the hell gets a leg tattoo in the middle of the season? What idiot, as a pitcher, on your throwing pitch, your throwing leg, where you're landing leg. What idiot would do that in the middle of a season? I don't know. Chapman, he's the idiot. He's the dumbass. And then he has an infection in his leg for almost 2 weeks and misses a significant amount of time for the Yankees, where he wasn't the same pitcher after that. The guy's a moron, okay? And anybody that picks him up in the offseason, because the Yankees are getting rid of him, they're idiots. The Mets, beware. Cardinals, beware. The Dodgers, beware. Any team that wants to pick up a moron like that, be effing where. Terrible. Enough said on him. Okay?
The sad thing is, I think the Mets could actually do that, unfortunately.
I am sick to my stomach with some of the pitchers and some of the excuses that the Yankees had in the offseason.